I want to touch on the point you talked about what Indonesia is doing. Obviously, it's trying to grow its own economy by forcing downstream in the economy. But that also means that, as we know, this how they mine their tin there is not quite sort of kosher to some degree. And do you think that, with the whole ESG thing, I think that's a big play in going forward, because there's always this about being, clean and green, etc., which is it's not fact yet. It's future thing. But the fact that Indonesia's going down this, that means that locks up all that concentrate. It's not going anywhere. It's got to be producing. And if you remember the nickel part of the story, it took a long time for that to happen, for the plants to get developed, and it took years before it actually created any flow of income for that sector. So would that really move then the price of tin, do you think?
Well, look, certainly the investors are chasing, from the fund managers, the ESG component. We heard that. I was at the AMEC forum yesterday, and it's coming to Australia. Canada and Australia are behind. There's clearly, I saw that, but that'll change. So if the investors are driving this from the US and from Europe, then are they going to be buying products from China? Is this where it's going to go down? Can China prove from the supply chain that tin didn't come from Myanmar, from an area that had been raped and pillaged in the Shan province, which is what they've been doing, and flooding the market with tin and affecting the price because they continue to buy those products. If Indonesia, same situation, if Indonesia is dredging the seafloor, which is what it's doing at the moment, and uses that tin, and it's all keeping internalised, but in the day out comes this solder or whatever, this downstream product. Well, hang on. Well, Apple and Samsung, etc., may go, no, we don't want your tin. You have actually go down the supply chain. You can't prove that it hasn't had modern day slavery. It's been sustainably sourced. All these ESG components, and all of a sudden, that happens. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, and these things never do, but there's this gradual change, and we can see the movement that's happening. The world's changed. It's these sort of things happen after catastrophic global events, and obviously COVID is one of those events. It's like having a world war, and there's a dramatic change, and because everyone's in the mood for change, these sort of things may occur. But look, it's I came out of the meeting thinking, well, if I sold to a tin to an offtake party. And it's quite interesting when you think about it. Do I need to go downstream further before I sell? Like if I'm, is it when I look at the tin plants, where do they sit? And they sit as Malaysia in Fort Butterworth, which is MSC. That's a big one. In Phuket we've got Taisako, and then majority of the rest are in China. And there's obviously smelters, and sometimes there's quite small smelters, like in the Banker Bellington Islands. And does that go into the LME coffers in Rotterdam? Will that start getting scrutiny? There's not many. When I was in the UK, they're talking about build a tin smelter, and Australia can send its concentrate to the one in UK, maybe for the South Crofty mine, if that gets developed. Or the American group said, we can't take concentrate, but we can take ignites. So should venture go downstream and build a tin smelter, because we can't wait for Rentails to build one in Metals X. And Metals X is, at the end of the day, half Chinese. A lot of assets, and maybe China's a bit smarter than the Australian investor, but MMG owned Rosebery. Savage River's half owned by a Chinese steel mill. So most of them are already gone. Better assets are already gone. So being a 50-50 joint venture, they're never going to agree to build a smelter. So maybe a smelter will never be built, and maybe eventually needs to look at downstreaming. That's sort of what I got out of it, because I need to control my supply chain if I want to have a green tin label and get a green tin premium, for example, and produce a bar of 4 nines tin. If I can do that, then maybe that's a more value-add product. So, we're looking at that as part of our pre-feasibility study. I'm not saying we are going to do it, and it kind of does depend a little bit if tin, deservedly gets on the critical mineral list, and it's about time the Australian government re-thought about that. And because without solder, there is no iPhone, there's nothing electronic, so it just needs to, reassess that list and put tin on there and get these assets built. And whether we supply those products to Europe or North America doesn't really matter. I can tell you now, Canada's got no assets for tin and tungsten, basically. So, or tungsten, so it does have. There's a manganese projects, but certainly tin.